Hey everybody, so yesterday we went to Knott's Berry Farm for their reopening day. So just like how we did for Magic Mountain, Universal, and SeaWorld, thought I'd take a little walk around the park, point out some things that were super positive. We had a really great day at the park. We got there right at opening, but I wanted to just kind of, do a walk around the park like we've done with some other videos, let you know what we experienced. Before we get into it, make sure you click down below to subscribe to our YouTube. Would be greatly appreciative. So I got to the park around 9:45 or so. My reservation wasn't until 10:30, so I had a little bit of time to kind of wait around to get in before they opened the park. But like I said, I got there about 9:45. I had a long drive, so obviously with traffic and stuff, you never know. So I actually made pretty good time getting down to Knott's from where I live, which is always a good thing. But they did actually end up letting us in a little bit early, before our 10:30 time. So they actually opened the park at 9:30 for the 10 o'clock people, and then they let us in about 10. But basically, if you try to scan your pass before your reservation time, it won't even let you in. So just keep that in mind when you're going to the park. That's how they're keeping track of reservations. They won't even scan until your reservation time. So I got in the park about, like I said, 5 after 10 or so, and headed straight over for Ghost Rider, because I know that always gets a really long line. Basically walked on it, maybe waited 5 minutes, not that bad at all. Great ride, obviously, on it. It's probably going to take a few weeks for it to warm up again. Wooden coasters are kind of like that, where it hasn't been run consistently in a while. So I'm sure in a couple weeks it'll just be flying through. But really, really amazing ride. So here we see walking through the park after I've left Ghost Rider. And it was an absolutely gorgeous day at the park, as you can see. They still have a lot of tables set up for Taste of Boysenberries, so the extra tables are still there, because obviously they want people still separating when they are dining. You can see here the lines for the queuing for the 6 feet for Ghost Rider. They've already got it set up here. They obviously don't have too much indoor queuing going on inside the building. So they've got, at all the rides, they've got these extended queues set up outside of the actual normal queues, again, just to keep that 6 feet distancing going through the park. Now Florida has actually already gone to 3 feet distancing. I don't see that happening here in California anytime soon, but we'll see. So this was probably around 10:20 or so as I'm walking through the park. Again, just absolutely gorgeous day. Just nice seeing the blacksmith out and doing his thing. So after Ghost Rider, my second stop was obviously for the new Berry Tales. So that's kind of where we're walking back. So obviously Knott's has been open for a while with food festivals and things, so they were definitely more prepared than some of the other places we visited as far as welcoming people back. But it still was the first day, so there's going to be a learning curve, and now that the entire park is open. So just with anything right now, just bring your patience. They're still hiring, they're still filling the workforce positions, things like that. But unlike our visit to SeaWorld a couple weeks ago, mask compliance here was very good. No issues at all, no issues with distancing that I saw. So I will say, if you have an early reservation, you definitely will get a couple hours of no lines, which is always fun. Since I was solo on my visit, I didn't do the mine ride. I'll wait and do that in a few weeks when I go back with my entire family. So when I got to Berry Tales about 10:30 or so, it was about a 20-minute wait. So it wasn't too bad. They are not using the inside queue right now, so it's all outside. They did have plexiglass set up in the queue area, which is always good. But later in the day, the line did extend back towards the Scrambler and the Flyers, so keep that in mind. So if you want to get to experience Berry Tales, make sure you get there early. So after that, I headed over to the Boardwalk and Hang Time. So again, this was probably a quarter to 11 or so, maybe, when I got off of Berry Tales, maybe 10 till 11. So again, you can see here the crowd's still not too high. And again, you can see the markers here. So they are, really distancing. And as you can see, there was absolutely no line for hang time. I walked right on for a front row ride. But again, they are separating parties by row. So since if you have a party of 4, you'll fill up an entire row. Party of 1, you'll get the row to yourself. Now I will say, even in California here, I don't anticipate those restrictions lasting too much longer for outdoor rides like this. After hang time, I headed over to Accelerator, and again, the line here was pretty much non-existent. Probably around 11:15 or so. I do understand that the lines did get a little longer later in the day. And again, you can see all of the markers here in the switchbacks. I did take a little detour to check out maze construction. So yay for Not Scary Farm. We did get our Scary Farm pass last week, so we are very much looking forward to that. And they were actually running 2 trains on Accelerator, so it's been a while since that's happened. Obviously, the park has been closed for over a year, so both trains, probably went through a full refurb. Didn't really make a difference when I rode, but I'm sure later in the day it definitely did here. But again, here we have our markers. I was going to do a front row ride, but then I saw that it was a little longer, so I decided to just go and do a ride on any row. And as you can see, I just basically walked right on for a ride on Accelerator. After Accelerator, I had a quick lunch and then headed over to Silver Bullet, which did have a little bit of a line, as you can see here. They did end up, they weren't using the switchbacks yet, and then as soon as I was done, you can see here that they started using the switchbacks, and they are using every other switchback, which is kind of nice to see them doing that. Headed over to Fiesta Village. They have extended queues for the food setup, which we did see during Taste of Boysenberry. So again, not really a whole lot of change there. And again, you can see here the extra tables and things like that that they have here. I did not take a ride on Jaguar. After riding it 200 and something times during Coasting for Kids, I don't really need to ride Jaguar anymore. But I did need to go and get a ride on Montezuma's Revenge, which is one of my favorite rides. The backwards loop on this coaster just gets me every single time. No matter how many times I ride it, it's an involuntary scream. But again, you can see the markers here for the queues. And, you know, it had been so long since I'd actually ridden this, I didn't remember that the queue kind of goes in right here. But you can see here I basically walked all the way up to the station and had to wait like 2 trains, I think it was. Once I got up there, again, they're filling every other row for right now. Rows that they are not using are roped off. I will say the very last row is one of those that's roped off, so for those of us who like to ride in the very last row, unfortunately we can only ride in the second to last row. You can see Camp Snoopy looks a little bit crowded here. I did not walk through Camp Snoopy. And there you can see Montezuma's Revenge doing its launch. But again, you can see here the social distancing here. So after Montezuma's Revenge, I headed back over towards the Boardwalk to spend some more time back there and do some shopping and check out the art show. Stopped by Knott Radio to check out the show going on. Really fun. They're always really fun. Play some great music. Have a lot of really fun with the fans, and it's so great to see all of that and people, you know, waving and getting to know the DJs. They play a lot of really fun music, so make sure you check them out when you're out there too. And then I headed over to the art show, which are always really great. It's always so great to see people with a love for knots and also the talent to do this artwork and take the time to do this. It's just so cool. It's one of those things that's uniquely Knott's, I think. You know, the passion that people have for this park is definitely very high. And they've really, the past decade or so, really expanded this type of thing at the park, which is great. I think there's a lot of history at this park, and I think people have really embraced that, and that Knott's has embraced it as well. I think it's so great and so perfect for this park. Some of these have prints that you can buy in addition to the originals, and then some of them obviously don't have the ability to have prints made just because they're one-of-a-kind pieces. So I would anticipate those one-of-a-kind pieces being sold rather quickly. And some of the originals, obviously, they'll probably be sold pretty quickly as well. But it's so great to see so many names that I recognize and friends of ours on the wall there, like Eric Linksweiler, Jeff Delgado had a piece, who does a lot of the really great haunt artwork that I have up on my wall. In addition, Gabe from Theme Park Duo had a great piece as well. So again, just great seeing so many talented artists contribute to this. So in addition to the artwork, they also have a lot of really great retro merchandise. These posters are pretty amazing. I love the size of them. They're not too huge. I'll probably end up getting a couple of these, before the end, because I just, I need them. I just need more wall space, to be honest with you. Also a lot of really great retro merchandise. Here we have some Fairy Tale stuff. Now I do remember writing the original one. I don't have a whole lot of memories of it. I was only 11 when it closed, but I do remember writing it. Definitely remember Soapbox Racers. So I had to grab a hat, Soapbox Racers hat, even though it's snapback. I usually like the fitted hats, but I really like the design of the hat. And at some point, I'm sure I'll grab this hoodie as well. They have drawstring backpacks and shirts. Here we have some Knott's masks and all of the pins. I had to pick up a couple of Montezuma's Revenge pins, and this map here, which I will definitely be adding to my collection at some point as well. Here we have some more of the artwork. And then I head over to the factory store. Here they have a lot more of the Fairy Tales merchandise here. As you can see here, shirts and hoodies and plush. So make sure you come in here for all your Fairy Tales needs. More soapbox racer stuff here as well. It was interesting that they had different designs in each of the shops there. And then the Volcano Devil. Really cool merchandise here as well. I do wish that they would go with the fitted hats, but that's okay. Sad Eye Joe merchandise and Haunted Shack merchandise, which I did have to grab a hoodie, Haunted Shack hoodie. And then finally the Sky Jump. I definitely remember this one. We all miss it. And then this is really cool. They have an old Soapbox Racers car that was preserved and restored in the store, which is really cool to see. I was kind of shocked at how small the vehicles were. I don't remember them being that small when I was a kid. And then I just kind of walked around the rest of the park a little bit here. Here you can see again more markers for the bumper cars, for the extended queue for that. I did not see the railroad running, but they were working on the bell here at the crossing. And as I walked by Pony Express, the line was pretty long that I saw. It was filling up the entire, switchbacks in the area. Calico River Rapids was also open, but again here you can see extended queue for Pony Express. To nobody's surprise, the line for Fireman's Barbecue was pretty long. That seems to be one of the more popular eateries at the park. And we'll just wrap up with a nice walk down towards the log ride, which again was closed when I went by, but I did open later up in the day from what I see. But again, had a really great time at Knott's. I will say that the 4 parks that we visited now since they've reopened, Magic Mountain, Universal, SeaWorld, and now Knott's, 3 of the 4 have been great as far as social distancing and compliance and all of that fun stuff. Magic Mountain was great, Universal's been great. SeaWorld unfortunately was the one that just didn't seem to care. So it'll be a while before we actually probably get back to SeaWorld, to be honest with you. But you know, we'll be back at Knott's in a couple of weeks for their 100th anniversary event. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to see what they pull out with all of the different things. You could see some of the setup for some of them around the park as well. So really looking forward to that. We'll be back at Universal in a couple of weeks as well. Now that my wife is fully vaccinated, we'll be going back, I think, a week from Sunday. And then obviously we've got Disney coming up here in about a month or so. We're going to be at Disneyland in California Adventure. And I think I am actually going to Magic Mountain next Friday for the day. So we'll have more updates from these parks in the coming weeks. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.